Happy New Year's 2021, guys. In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can win one of these Dalstrong brisket slicing knives, or I like to call it a brisket slicing knife. It's actually called the Gladiator Series ham slicing knife, but I use it for cutting brisket, and literally, this has changed the way that I slice brisket. It makes it so easy and so effortless. I'm gonna show you more about how this slices brisket so easily, and I'll tell you exactly how to enter into the contest so you can win one of these bad boys for yourself. If you're following a recipe for cooking brisket from the internet, there's not a lot of attention paid to the slicing aspect of the cooking process. And that's a shame because you've put in all this effort to select the perfect brisket, you've trimmed it up, you've smoked it for hours, you've carefully wrapped it, you've done the rub, you've rested it afterwards for 2 hours, and then you're finally ready to eat it. And all of a sudden the recipe, you look at it and it just says, slice against the grain and serve. And you're like, okay, I guess I'll just take whatever knife I have in my kitchen drawer and slice into this thing. But when I first started cooking brisket, I did that. I took any knife that I had in my kitchen drawer, usually a pretty dull one, and then I started carving into the brisket, trying to get perfect 1/4-inch slices against the grain. And what happens is, because brisket has that really crusty bark layer on the outside, you try to slice into it with a dull knife, and it kind of just flakes away. So you'll have a slice and then it's interrupted with a bit of bark missing, and that just doesn't look very good, and it also doesn't taste as good as it could. And then when you start slicing even deeper into the actual meat, that meat is so tender that it needs to be sliced with something really sharp that's not gonna create a lot of resistance, so it can create really nice clean cuts. Otherwise you can mush the brisket, or you can also cause it to flake away, and then you have kind of jaggedy cuts that don't look very good. So getting a slicing knife really upped my brisket slicing game, because I can just make perfectly 1/4-inch slices now. I don't get any of the bark flaking away, and I don't have issues with the actual meat tearing like you get with a dull knife. The other great thing about this knife is you can use it to cut turkey, you can use it to cut watermelon, you can use it to cut bread, any sort of large piece of food. This thing is perfect for, because it's got 12 inches of cutting surface, and this is a super sharp knife. But the thing I really like about this knife is, listen to this, listen to this. I love that sound. It's like a warrior unsheathing his sword, getting ready for battle, and not the type of sword and sorcery D&D stuff they're doing these days. This is like OG Conan the Barbarian, unsheathing your giant blade and getting ready to like cut down the hordes or something like that. This is totally cool. And what I really like doing is, when my brisket is fully rested, it's done, it's ready to carve, I like to take it out, put it on the countertop, gather the family around, get everyone around, make sure everyone's quiet, and then I take the brisket carving knife out, and then silence, and I'm just like, oh. And then everyone's like, what's gonna happen next? And then you carefully carve into the brisket, and this thing is so sharp, it just cuts through like butter. It's like a lightsaber through a watermelon. And I'm so glad that Dalstrong gave me an extra slicing knife to give away to one of you guys, because this thing is awesome. I love it. So how do you enter to win this guy? Well, all you gotta do is go to the description section below this video, click that link to gleam.io. That's the software I use for my contests. Then you can enter the contest, and you can enter to win multiple times. The first way is by subscribing to Dalstrong's YouTube channel. You can subscribe to my social channels to get some other entries to win. You can subscribe to my mailing list to get more notifications on when great giveaways are coming down the pipeline. And there's some other ways to win. So it's open to Canadian and US residents. You gotta be 18 to enter. It's open until January 15th, and I'm gonna announce the winner on January 16th. Dalstrong is going to ship the winner directly one of these bad boys, these Conan the Barbarian blades. It's not the tumor. All right, guys, see you in the next video.